First contact shock. High Admiral Kilara Voss stood motionless on the command deck of the Concordat flagship Eternal Dawn, her iridescent scales reflecting the pale blue light of the insignificant star system they had just entered. The ship's quantum sensors had detected something unusual here, patterns that shouldn't exist in what their records showed as a barely developed system. "Status report," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of someone who represented the oldest spacefaring civilization in known space. "High Admiral, we're detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system," Science Officer Mira reported, her tentacles dancing across the holographic interface. "The third planet appears to be the source, but—" she hesitated. "Speak freely, officer. The readings contradict our scout reports from just 50 years ago. They showed a primitive civilization just beginning to explore their orbital space. But these energy signatures, they're unlike anything in our database." Kilara's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of deep thought among her species. The Concordat Alliance had brought thousands of civilizations into their fold over the millennia, guiding them toward what they considered proper technological and social development. But something about this situation felt different. "Launch the diplomatic probe," she ordered. Following standard protocol, a sleek probe detached from the Eternal Dawn, carrying the Concordat's traditional first contact package, a comprehensive introduction to their civilization, and an invitation to join their alliance. The probe never reached its destination. "High Admiral." Mira's voice carried an unusual note of alarm. "The probe, it's gone, not destroyed. It simply ceased to exist the moment it crossed the orbital plane of the system's sixth planet." Before Kilara could respond, every display on the bridge lit up with a message in perfect Concordat standard. "Greetings, representatives of the Concordat Alliance. Earth acknowledges your presence. Please maintain your current position. A representative will contact you shortly." The bridge crew exchanged glances. No newly discovered civilization should have been able to translate their language so quickly, let alone respond in it. "High Admiral," the sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting a small vessel approaching. It's not using any form of propulsion we can detect." A craft no larger than a shuttle emerged from the darkness of space. It was deceptively simple in design. Smooth, pearl-white surfaces with no visible engines or weapons. It came to a stop 5,000 kilometers from the Eternal Dawn. "We're receiving a transmission," communications reported. "Visual and audio." "On screen," Kilara ordered, straightening her ceremonial armor. The image that appeared showed a human woman, seemingly in her middle years, seated in what looked like a simple office. Behind her, a window revealed the blue-green curve of Earth. "I am Dr. Sarah Chen, Earth's first contact director," she said with a warm smile. "We've been expecting you." Kilara's scales shifted color slightly, a sign of surprise she couldn't quite suppress. "I am High Admiral Kilara Voss of the Concordat Alliance. You've been expecting us." "Yes, we detected your scout ships 50 years ago. We were quite different then, just beginning to understand what we could become. We decided to wait and prepare for this meeting properly. You detected our stealth scouts." Kilara's voice carried a note of disbelief. "Those ships used technology that should have been undetectable to any civilization, not at least at the Concordat's level." "We did," Dr. Chen confirmed. "Just as we detected the quantum signature of your arrival today. High Admiral, I understand you carry an invitation for Earth to join the Concordat Alliance. We're honored, but I should inform you that Earth will be declining this invitation." Kilara's scales flushed deep blue, a sign of authority among her people. "Dr. Chen, perhaps you don't understand. The Concordat Alliance brings order and progress to developing civilizations. We offer protection, technology, guidance. We understand perfectly," Chen interrupted gently. "We've studied your civilization extensively. Your achievements are remarkable, and your intentions are generally benevolent. However, humanity has chosen a different path." "Different path." Kilara's translator struggled with the concept. In the Concordet's experience, there was only one path to proper development. Yes, you see, 50 years ago, humanity made a fundamental breakthrough. We didn't just advance our technology. We changed our understanding of reality itself. The universe, we discovered, is far more flexible than anyone imagined. As if to demonstrate, the small Earth vessel suddenly split into 20 identical copies, each one perfect down to the quantum level, then merged back into one. It was a casual display of power that should have been impossible according to everything the Concordat knew about physics. This demonstration, Chen continued, is not meant to threaten, but to help you understand. We would be happy to establish diplomatic relations with the Concordat, but as equals, not as a protectorate. Kilara stood silent for a long moment. In all her centuries of service, she had never encountered anything like this. These humans hadn't just advanced beyond expectations. They had taken a completely different evolutionary path. Your offer is unprecedented, she finally said. I will need to consult with the Concordat Council. Of course, Chen smiled. We'll maintain this position while you deliberate. Oh, and High Admiral, please inform your stealth destroyer squadron, approaching from the system's outer rim, that they should maintain their distance as well. We wouldn't want any unfortunate accidents. The transmission ended, leaving Kilara staring at the deceptively simple vessel floating before her ship. For the first time in her long career, she felt something she had never experienced before. The sense that the Concordat might not be the most advanced civilization in the galaxy after all. The silent defense. The Concordat Council chamber hung in geosynchronous orbit above their homeworld, its crystalline structure reflecting the light of 3 suns. Inside, High Admiral Kilara Voss faced the questioning gazes of the Council's 9 members, their scales shifting through various colors of agitation. Impossible, declared Supreme Counselor Nex, his scales a deep red of dismissal. No civilization advances from primitive spaceflight to quantum manipulation in mere decades. Your sensors must be malfunctioning. Kilara activated a holographic display, showing recordings of the Earth vessel's demonstration. The sensors of 12 ships confirmed these readings, Supreme Counselor. And there's more. She played the recording of their interaction with Dr. Chen. They detected our stealth ships, muttered Counselor Vera, her scales shifting to the green of worry. No one has ever detected our stealth technology. The humans claim they've achieved a fundamental breakthrough in their understanding of reality. Kilara continued. Their technology doesn't follow our expected development path because they're operating on different principles entirely. Then they are dangerous, declared Military Counselor Zax, rising from his seat. If they truly possess such capabilities and refuse to join the Concordat, they represent a threat to galactic stability. We must act decisively. Despite her misgivings, Kilara knew this response was coming. The Concordat had maintained order for millennia by ensuring all advanced civilizations developed along their prescribed path. Earth's divergence represented a challenge to everything they believed. I have already positioned our 7th Fleet at the edge of their system, Zax continued. With your permission, Supreme Counselor, we can launch a containment operation immediately. Before Nex could respond, a soft chime echoed through the chamber. A message appeared in the central holographic display. Greetings, honored Concordat Council. We apologize for the intrusion, but we thought it best to address your concerns directly. The image of Dr. Chen appeared in the center of the chamber, as if she were physically present. The Council's security systems showed no signs of infiltration or transmission. She was simply there. How dare you intrude on a private council session? Zax's scales flashed brilliant red. We mean no disrespect, Chen replied calmly. But given Counselor Zax's plans for the 7th Fleet, we felt timing was important. I'm here to prevent a misunderstanding that could have unfortunate consequences. Are you threatening the Concordat? Nex demanded. Not at all. We're trying to avoid unnecessary conflict. For instance, the 7th Fleet's quantum drives have already been temporarily deactivated. Your ships are unharmed, but will require about 6 hours to restart their systems. The chamber erupted in chaos as counselors received confirmation of the fleet's status. Kilara noticed that Chen's projection remained perfectly calm, watching the confusion with what seemed like gentle patience. If you can reach us here, if you can disable our fleet at will, why not simply demonstrate your power openly? Kilara asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming protocol. Because we're not interested in power demonstrations, Admiral Voss, Chen replied. Earth has no desire to dominate or intimidate. We simply wish to maintain our independence and continue our development along our chosen path. And if we oppose this? Zax challenged. Chen's expression showed genuine sadness. Please, access your fleet's sensors from 3 minutes ago. The display shifted to show the 7th Fleet. As they watched, a small moon simply appeared next to the fleet, an exact replica of Earth's moon, down to the smallest crater. Then it vanished. That was just a temporary quantum projection, Chen explained. But it demonstrates why military action would be inadvisable. We don't want to fight. We want to talk, to share ideas, to learn from each other as equals. Supreme Counselor Nex's scales had shifted to white, the color of deep thought. You could have conquered us already, he stated. Echoes of understanding. The observation deck of the neutral station Convergence offered a spectacular view of the nebula that marked the border between Earth and Concordat space. Dr. Sarah Chen stood there now, watching the swirling colors while waiting for her counterpart to arrive. 3 months had passed since the confrontation at the Concordat Council, and this would be the first face-to-face meeting between their civilizations. The door whispered open behind her. High Admiral Kilara Voss entered, accompanied by a small delegation of scientists and diplomats. Chen noticed their scales showed a mix of colors, curiosity, apprehension, and something she interpreted as excitement. Welcome to Convergence, Chen smiled, turning to face them. I trust your journey was comfortable. Quite, Kilara replied, her scales shifting to a friendly blue-green. Though I must admit, traveling without our quantum drives felt primitive, a necessary precaution given recent events. Please, join me. Chen gestured to a collection of seats arranged near the viewport. We have much to discuss. As they settled in, holographic displays materialized around them, showing various aspects of both civilizations. We've prepared detailed cultural and historical exchanges, Chen explained. But first, I believe you have questions. Many, confirmed Professor Ixel, the Concordat's leading theoretical physicist. His scales rippled with barely contained enthusiasm. Your manipulation of quantum states defies everything we thought we knew about reality. How did you achieve such advances in mere decades? Chen's expression turned thoughtful. Tell me, Professor, in your studies of quantum mechanics, did you ever encounter the concept of consciousness as a fundamental force? Of course not, Ixel replied. Consciousness is an emergent property of complex neural systems. It has no bearing on quantum mechanics. That was our view as well, until the Singapore event, Chen said. 50 years ago, a team of researchers discovered that consciousness, specifically focused human consciousness, could influence quantum states directly, not through measurement or observation, as we'd always known, but through active intention. The Concordat delegates exchanged glances. Impossible, Ixel declared, though his scales had shifted to the white of deep thought. That was our first reaction too, Chen smiled. But the evidence was undeniable. We discovered that human consciousness, when properly trained and focused, could affect probability fields at the quantum level. It wasn't magic. It still followed quantum mechanical principles, but it operated on a level we hadn't known existed. But that would mean. Kilara's scales flickered rapidly as she processed the implications. Yes, Chen nodded. We didn't advance by developing more powerful technology. Instead, we learned to work with the fundamental fabric of reality directly. The quantum manipulation you've witnessed isn't done by machines. It's performed by trained human consciousness, aided by relatively simple focusing devices. The revelation sent ripples of color cascading through the scales of every Concordat delegate. Their entire understanding of technological progress was based on the development of ever more sophisticated machines and energy systems. The idea of consciousness as a tool for manipulating reality itself was revolutionary. This is why you said we weren't ready for your quantum manipulation techniques, Killara realized. It's not about technological capability at all. Exactly, Chen confirmed. Your civilization has achieved remarkable things, but you focused entirely on external technology. We discovered a different path, one that required us to look inward and develop capabilities we already possessed but hadn't recognized. And the defense grid around your system? Professor Ixel asked. A network of trained quantum operators working in harmony to maintain probability fields that make certain actions extremely unlikely. Chen gestured, and a small sphere of water formed in the air between them, defying gravity. Just as I can convince these water molecules that down is in a different direction, our operators can convince space itself that certain approaches to Earth are improbable. The implications were staggering. The Concordat's entire understanding of technological progress, the very foundation of their mission to guide other civilizations, was based on assumptions that humanity had simply bypassed. Why show us this? Killara asked. Why reveal the true nature of your capabilities? Because we believe the time has come for a genuine exchange of ideas, Chen replied. Your civilization has mastered incredible technologies that humanity might take centuries to develop independently. We've discovered fundamentally different ways of interacting with reality. Apart, we each have only half the picture. Together, she let the thought hang in the air. The Council will never accept this, one of the diplomatic staff muttered, scales flashing worried purple. It undermines everything we've built. Does it? Killara challenged, surprising herself with the question. Or does it simply show us that there's more to discover than we imagined? We've spent millennia believing we knew the one true path to advancement. Perhaps it's time we learn to question that belief. Chen nodded approvingly. There are more paths to the future than any of us can imagine alone. We're not asking the Concordat to abandon its knowledge or principles. We're inviting you to expand them. As if to emphasize her point, the nebula outside flared with new colors, its quantum probability fields responding to the focused attention of the gathered observers. For a moment, both humans and Concordat members sat in silent appreciation of the display, united in their wonder at the universe's endless capacity for surprise. The breaking point. Military Counselor Zach stood before the secret assembly of fleet commanders, his scales a deep crimson of determination. The private chamber, hidden in an asteroid base at the edge of Concordat space, hummed with tension as he activated a secure holographic display. Our leadership has grown weak, he declared. While they waste time with diplomatic talks, Earth continues to represent an unprecedented threat to our order. Today, we correct this mistake. The display showed a complex tactical plan, one developed over months of careful preparation. 30 battle groups, gathered secretly from across Concordat space, waited for his signal. But they weren't alone. Thanks to certain private arrangements, we have allies. The hologram shifted to show ships of various designs, other civilizations who recognize the danger Earth represents. Together, we have assembled the largest fleet in galactic history. On the Convergence Station, Dr. Chen was sharing a meal with High Admiral Killara when both of their communication devices activated simultaneously. Chen's expression turned serious as she received the quantum-encrypted message from Earth's defense network. It seems, she said quietly, that some of your people have made their choice. Killara's scales paled as she read the emergency transmission from the Concordat Council. Zax, she hissed. He's gathered a coalition fleet. They're jumping in across multiple vectors. Yes, Chen nodded. 347 ships, including vessels from 6 other major civilizations. Quite impressive. You have to act. Killara's scales flashed with alarm. That fleet could glass your entire system. Could they? Chen's calm seemed almost surreal in the face of such danger. Admiral, would you like to observe how Earth handles this situation? It might help ease some of your civilization's remaining concerns about us. Before Kilara could respond, the station's main viewport shifted to show multiple tactical displays. The Coalition fleet was emerging from quantum space at carefully calculated points around the solar system, their formation designed to overwhelm any possible defense grid through sheer numbers. Zax's voice boomed across all frequencies. Earth, your time of defiance ends now. Surrender to Concordat authority, or face immediate elimination. You have 5 minutes to comply. The response came not in words, but in action. As the fleet moved to surround Earth, space itself seemed to ripple. Ships attempting to maintain formation found themselves gently, but irresistibly pushed into new positions, like leaves caught in an invisible current. Fascinating, Chen commented, sipping her tea. They're attempting to compensate by increasing power to their quantum drives. That will only make things more interesting. Kilara watched in amazement as the massive fleet, despite its best efforts, was slowly arranged into a massive geometric pattern around Earth's orbit. Not a single shot had been fired, not a single ship had been damaged. They were simply repositioned. What are you doing to them? She asked. We're teaching them a lesson about the nature of reality, Chen replied. Watch. The fleet, now arranged in a perfect geodesic sphere around Earth, suddenly found all their quantum drives synchronized. A soft blue glow enveloped each ship as their quantum fields merged into a single, massive probability matrix. By the three suns, Kilara whispered. You've quantum-linked their entire fleet. Yes, every ship is now perfectly synchronized with every other ship. Their quantum drives are operating as a single system. Would you like to see what that means? As if in answer to her question, the entire fleet vanished simultaneously, only to reappear in exactly the same formation, except now they were orbiting Jupiter. Zax's voice crackled over the comm again, this time with notably less confidence. What is the meaning of this? Return us at once. Military Counselor Zax, Chen finally responded, her voice carrying to every ship in the fleet. Your coalition fleet is currently experiencing a quantum entanglement state. We can maintain this state indefinitely. Every ship's quantum drive is now part of a single system, one that we control. We could send you anywhere in the galaxy, or nowhere at all. The threat, delivered in her same calm, almost friendly tone, was unmistakable. You would dare, Zax began, but Chen continued as if he hadn't spoken. However, that would be wasteful. Instead, we're going to give you a gift. Your fleet is about to experience quantum superposition on a macro scale. For the next 30 seconds, every person on every ship will exist in a state of simultaneous quantum possibilities. You will, briefly, experience reality as we experience it. Before anyone could respond, it happened. Every being on every ship suddenly found themselves aware of multiple simultaneous realities. Versions of themselves that had made different choices, lived different lives. They experienced, for one transcendent moment, the true fluid nature of quantum reality that humanity had learned to perceive and manipulate. When it ended, there was absolute silence across all channels. That, Chen said softly, is why we choose not to conquer. When you understand the infinite possibilities of existence, the desire to force a single path onto others becomes meaningless. Kilara watched as the fleet hung motionless in space, their crews forever changed by what they had experienced. What happens now? She asked. Chen smiled. Now, I believe, we can have a real conversation about the future. A new path forward. 1 year after the failed coalition attack, the Great Hall of the Concordat Council looked vastly different. The formerly rigid rows of seats had been replaced by a circular arrangement, symbolizing the new era of equality and mutual exchange. Representatives from Earth sat among the Concordat Council members, their presence a testament to how much had changed. Professor Ixel stood before the assembled delegates, his scales shifting through patterns of excitement as he presented the latest findings from the Joint Research Initiative. Behind him, holographic displays showed the preliminary results of combining Concordat technology with human quantum consciousness techniques. "The implications are staggering," he announced. "By integrating our quantum drive technology with human consciousness-based probability manipulation, we've achieved transportation efficiencies that neither of our civilizations thought possible. And this is just the beginning." Dr. Chen, now serving as Earth's permanent ambassador to the Concordat, smiled as she watched her former adversaries embrace new possibilities. The failed invasion had sparked not just change, but a renaissance across known space. The coalition members who had joined Zax's attack had, after experiencing quantum superposition, become some of the strongest advocates for cooperation with Earth. High Admiral Kilara Voss, recently appointed to lead the new Joint Exploration Initiative, took the floor next. Her scales rippled with proud turquoise as she activated a new set of holographic displays. "We've confirmed the existence of 17 previously unknown forms of consciousness-based quantum interaction," she reported. "Each represents a different path that civilizations might take in their development. Earth's approach was just one of many possibilities. And we've only scratched the surface," Chen added, standing to join her friend. "The universe has far more secrets than any one civilization could discover alone. Our differences aren't obstacles to be overcome. They're advantages to be embraced." Former military counselor Zax sat quietly in his observer's seat, his scales now permanently tinted with the white of contemplation. The quantum superposition experience had affected him more profoundly than most, leading him to resign his position and become a student of human meditation techniques. He served as a living reminder of how perspectives could change when minds were open to new possibilities. "We're ready to begin the next phase," Kilara announced. "The Deep Space Consciousness Initiative will combine our most advanced ships with human quantum operators, exploring regions of space we never could have reached separately. We've already detected signals suggesting other civilizations have discovered their own unique paths to advancement." A ripple of excited color shifting ran through the assembled Concordat delegates. The prospect of discovering entirely new approaches to existence had awakened something that had been dormant in their civilization for millennia, a genuine sense of wonder. "Before we proceed," Supreme Counselor Nex said, rising from his seat, "I believe we should address the matter of our traditional role as guides to developing civilizations." The chamber fell silent. This had been a point of intense debate over the past year. How could the Concordat continue its mission of guidance when its own understanding of development had been so thoroughly transformed? "Perhaps," Chen suggested gently, "the role of guide doesn't have to mean showing others the one true path. Maybe it means helping them discover their own path." Nex's scales shifted to a new color, one that hadn't been seen in the council chamber before. It was a subtle blend of wisdom and possibility, reflecting the Concordat's evolution from rigid authority to curious explorer. "Yes," he agreed. "Our encounter with Earth has taught us that true advancement doesn't come from following a predetermined path. It comes from having the courage to discover new paths entirely." As the council session continued, a small craft departed from the station, carrying a joint team of human quantum operators and Concordat scientists. They were headed to a distant star system where unusual quantum signatures had been detected, signatures that matched neither Earth's nor the Concordat's known patterns. Standing at the viewport, Kilara and Chen watched the ship disappear into quantum space, its journey made possible by the harmonious combination of two very different approaches to understanding reality. "Did you know it would turn out this way?" Kilara asked, her scales showing genuine curiosity. "When you first detected our scout ships 50 years ago?" Chen laughed softly. "No, we knew humanity had found a unique path, but we never imagined it would lead here. That's the beauty of consciousness, whether human or Concordat. It can always surprise you. The stars twinkled beyond the viewport, each one potentially holding new civilizations with their own unique paths to understanding the universe. The future was no longer about conquering or guiding. It was about discovering, learning, and growing together. And somewhere out there, other beings were looking up at those same stars, finding their own ways to understand the infinite possibilities that reality offered. The age of the single path was over. The age of infinite paths had begun.